Hello and welcome to FPJ Live Fresh Talks. I'm delighted to be joined by two panelists today who are going to talk to us about some really exciting new technology. I've got John Dye, who's the chairman of JD Cooling Group, and Roland Wirth, who's MD of Frigotec. And so you guys have teamed up and introduced this new ripening technology called soft ripe. And really, I just wanted to kick off straight up the bat, tell us about this new technology, soft ripe. How did it come about? Who does it cater to? And why is it so revolutionary, as you described it?
Okay. Well, I think the ripening process obviously has been around for many years, and probably in the last 10 years, there's been a real push, mainly on energy consumption and trying to reduce energy consumption. So in the more traditional ripening process, the focus has been to reduce airflow, to reduce fan energy consumption, which has been done with EC fan technology, which is an electronic fan which reduces the fan power. So lots of focus on that, but not really any major advances in the technology itself. Otherwise, the main process is to put the fruit in a chamber where the air is being circulated, the temperature is being regulated, maybe some ethylene is being injected, and some humidity control, but fairly small advances in that area, mainly focused on energy. Soft ripe is a major step forward. We've described it as the ripening revolution because it really has completely changed the whole mindset of how we're going to approach ripening. So soft ripe is a controlled atmosphere chamber. So unlike a traditional ripening facility, which is a room with a door, insulated and reasonably airtight, soft ripe is an actual controlled atmosphere chamber, similar in terms of environment as you might get for storing apples and pears for long term in a controlled atmosphere for maybe 6, 8, 10 months.
Yes.
We're using that same principle for ripening stone fruit, avocado, bananas, that type of fruit. In the same environment. The whole point of difference for soft ripe is that Roland and his team from Brazil have recognised that they can understand when the fruit is becoming stressed.
Okay.
And in a conventional process, the fruit does tend to become stressed because we have us as the operators of the system have decided what we're going to do to that fruit. It arrives with us, we look at the normal checks of pressure and colour and things like that, and we just say, right, we are going to put it at this temperature.
It's a human decision.
It's a human decision. Soft ripe is able to look at the respiration that's coming from the fruit, whether it be bananas or avocados or whatever it may be, and because the room is completely gas tight, soft ripe will have a period of time within its cycle to listen to the fruit through the respiration. And it's dynamic, so each batch can be completely different if the fruit tells us it's different. And the recognition by the soft ripe team that if you can remove stress from the process, you achieve so much more in the quality, the eating quality of the fruit, the lifetime expectancy, what you'll get on the shelf has been extended, the texture of the fruit itself has been extended, and this is all through having a ripening process. We see it as the guide to take the fruit through the journey in a stress-free way. One of the sayings you have on your is ripening as though it's on the tree. So that's what we're trying to replicate with soft ripe. If everybody will say you go on holiday and you have a tomato in Spain, it's the best tomato you'll ever have. I'm sure if you go to Brazil and you pick a mango off a tree when it's ripe, you'll say that's the best mango you've ever had. So the actual ability to measure oxygen, CO2, ethylene and humidity and temperature, which are more traditional, but those three other elements are really key for soft ripe to deliver a specific ripening cycle that meets the demands of the fruit in any one batch, if you like.
So why is it mentioned bananas, avocados, and stone fruit, did you say?
Yep.
For that specifically, or can it be rolled out across multiple categories?
Yes, it can. We are, so if you like, the biggest category by far for ripening is bananas. So Roland and the team in Europe So we very much understand that there is a difference between fruit that's been picked and harvested in South America, potentially for consumption in South America, and maybe ripened in South America, is going to be very different from fruit that has a journey across the ocean when it's in a controlled atmosphere state or a temperature retarded state. We understand that there is a big difference. So Roland has done a lot of work in Switzerland and Germany and Holland with partners, suppliers to the retail sector in mainland Europe to deliver soft ripe into mainly at the moment the banana sector, just because it was the biggest potential. And the technology of ripening bananas has probably been tested more in the UK as well on bananas than any other fruit. So the advances that could be made have probably been made. A lot of focus, to be fair, has been put on banana ripening, and maybe reached a dead end in terms of how much further can we take this. Soft ripe, again, because of the ability to look at the banana in terms of respiration, has allowed us to change we can, for instance, achieve whatever sugar level we want at a certain colour stage. So I have been to Switzerland now 3 times myself and seen their ripening master. They call him the master ripener over there. And he had spoken to Valdir, who's one of the partners from Brazil, and said, I would like more sugar at colour stage 5. And by changing the oxygen level within the soft ripe program, we were able to deliver a higher level of sugar. So we've sort of demonstrated the capability of soft ripe because we have full control over the process. It's a very precise but dynamic process.
So effectively, it's the most fine-tuned ripening process there is. Is that
Yes,
why were we able to develop this now? Why not 10 years ago? Why not 15 years ago? It was developed by Frigotec. So.
Yes. The original idea came from Brazil, because there was a man who working in the ripening, a company who working in the ripening business, and he said we are now working 10 years long and 20 years long in the banana ripening business, but we do not have a real control over this process. And this was the idea to search for a solution. And after 4 or 5 years, trials, manual trials and research, we find this solution, and we are very happy about it.
So it relies heavily on sort of sensors and computer systems to effectively detect the state of the fruits, but also the state of the atmosphere. Effectively, that's what it brings together.
Yes. We control the atmosphere in this chamber, and this is the key. Because with this respiration measurements, we can communicate with the fruits. We have like when you have a heart or a pulse meter, you can communicate and keep the fruits stress-free. Because this stress-free situation is one of the key of the advantages to get a better fruit quality.
Does that not require a lot of inputs? I mean, how difficult is this technology to install?
I think actually it's not so much the technology itself in terms of the installation. The physical installation is a fairly straightforward process, and doesn't differ greatly from a ripening store, but maybe with controlled atmosphere technology in terms of building the store. The clever part is certainly in the software technology, the soft ripe software, and in that respect, there is a very deliberate and precise process that happens with each customer where we will spend time with them after the installation. We talk about where the fruit has come from. We can actually adapt. We have recipes, and we can say, is this an early season avocado from Chile or from Peru? Is it a late season? Does it have a high oil level or a low oil level? And so at the end of that process with Soft Ripe and our client, they will have a load of recipes that so the ripening guy can say, okay, this fruit has come from wherever it's come from, what origin, what soil type, hits a button and gives it recipe 1. Now, that doesn't mean to say that recipe 1 is fixed. Because it's dynamic, each cycle tends to have up to 9 segments, it's 9 sort of stages. And if in the first stage it detects slightly different respiratory gases than it expects, it will maybe extend cycle 2 or shorten cycle 3 or whatever. So it's a very dynamic system.
You mentioned energy earlier, and how does this help save energy and perhaps even and save waste as well? It's obviously a key subject you heard us spoken about today.
Absolutely. So we've been listening very much. We feel that Soft Ripe is so in tune with the current demands of the consumer. I think, like myself and my wife is also the same, when she buys an avocado one week and it's perfect to eat, and another week maybe not quite perfect, there's a frustration that if only I could get the perfect fruit each time, I would eat more. Of course, that's what we all want as people trying to sell fruit into the marketplace. So soft ripe, one of the key things that we've been asked to look at is consistency, and because of the way soft ripe works, it is able to very much produce a more consistent fruit. Also extends the shelf life, which means that consistency stays longer on the shelf, which is good for everybody and in turn reduces waste. And the other thing, because of the way that the system looks at the fruit and adapts the cycle to suit exactly what the fruit wants, the actual result is it shortens the cycle. Now that can vary, but the typical shortening, so if you take a banana cycle, it's typically 5 to 7 days in the UK, we can shorten that by up to 35%. Now that reduces energy straight away because we've got a short time scale. So we reduce energy in a number of ways, but that's one of them. The other way we reduce energy is we actually take heat from the cooling cycle. So whereas in a traditional cooling system we throw that heat away, we contain the heat in a cylinder of warm fluid, and we then use that warm fluid to actually provide the heat of the ripening cycle itself. When the ripening wants heat, we're actually delivering that from a free heat recovery.
So it's recovered heat. Incorporate those principles. And so what's the market for this? What's next for this partnership? Are you just effectively, it's a case of rolling out soft ripe to people who want it? I mean, what's the growth market for you guys?
So because Roland has done much work, we have many projects already delivered and operating in Europe for bananas. We are very much in very advanced talks with the UK banana industry and talking to them about soft ripe right now. If you like, pipeline projects at the moment. Nobody's going to magic up a project just because we've come along with soft ripe, but certainly new projects that are on the horizon are being looked at with that technology. In terms of where we see the real major potential for soft ripe is avocado, where obviously we see great growth in the UK. So we are in the middle of European trials to prove, in the same way as we've done for bananas, after the ocean journey, we want to prove that we can get the quality. We've done trials ourselves with Frigotec in Brazil on avocados, and the results have been absolutely amazing. If we can replicate those results in the UK, we will be on a very positive thing.
Avocados are a hugely growing market, so if you've got bananas and avocados, then you're sitting quite healthy.
We also see, talking to our customers, there's a general feeling that mangoes is a very under-established market in the UK because of consistency. We feel that the levels of consistency that we can achieve with soft ripe could be a major plus for the mango market as well.
The sky's the limit by the sounds of it.
We hope so.
Just finally, we also wanted to touch on another thing you're currently in the very early stages of launching, which is Fruit Atmo. Can you tell us a bit about that? What we can expect from this? You mentioned it was an evolution rather than a revolution, like soft ripe is.
Yes, Fruit Atmo is a new technology where we can find, especially for long time storage of apples and pears, to find the lowest optimum oxygen level. Because this oxygen level is very interesting for the storage period and to get the best storage results. And this technology, we do not need any more sensors to find this lowest oxygen point, to measuring oxygen and CO2. The new idea is to have an algorithm and just to look at the CO2 respiration, and with this CO2 respiration we can find the optimum lowest storage level, oxygen level in a fruit storage to improve the quality.
Okay. So currently, I'm not too au fait with apple storage, but currently it's that's part of the challenge is the different varieties, different types of apples, finding the right oxygen level. And again, it's about preventing the fruit from getting stressed.
We're picking up from, and I think it's a theme that we hear now with food miles. Some of our, if you like, through our customers, the retailers are telling us they want to reduce their southern hemisphere dependency, and they feel there's a potential to increase some of their supply from the northern hemisphere, and we feel that actually that's very much pertinent to Fruit Atmo. The advantage of Fruit Atmo getting to a lower oxygen level is to extend the storage period in terms of the quality levels you can achieve after that life. So It's a very exciting. We've had trials in Brazil that have been very exciting. We've shared some of those results with UK growers, and as a result, we have the first trial for Fruit Atmo is just underway in Kent for this coming season.
We have a few top fruit growers here, so that we can have a chat around with them.
They'll be interested in that.
And yeah, best luck for the future. I hope it goes really well. It's exciting technology. It's revolutionary, as you said. And yeah, Roland and John, thank you very much for joining us. And tune in later for some more Fresh Talks.
Thank you, Ed.